Hello and welcome. We're going to be starting a new run of Terra Invicta here today on patch 1.0.29. The plan is to be doing humanity first. That was what won the poll. All previous runs I've done on the channel have been in the 2022 scenario. The last one was technically started in the release canon, which is why I didn't do the modding you effectively had to do to enable the 2026 scenario. So we're going to do the 2026 scenario today. Standard full solar system, standard 8 factions. The vote winner was humanity first. Also sort of humanity first in a way where we're just going to kind of ignore what we know about the aliens. So we know how the aliens respond to mission control usage. We're just going to ignore that. We're gonna build how we're going to build. Probably with the standpoint of we're just going to build whatever makes sense to build at a given time. Mission control, like we're not going to go over mission control, but we're not going to care if building the mission control is going to trigger certain things with the AI. So we're just going to do random from the defaults. I think the only thing I might change is I'm going to turn the fellow citizen counselor off. This is your first counselor's home nation will be drawn from your computer's regional settings. I happen to be from the United States. This is fairly strong for me if I left this toggled on. Toggling this off effectively just weakens the probability that our starting counselor is gonna give us access to American orgs without being in America. Otherwise, we're just gonna basically leave everything on standard long campaign defaults or normal difficulty, just with that toggled off. So with that, let's get into the campaign. This campaign, like most of the content that I am posting to the YouTube channel, is going to be streamed live. So this is being streamed live. This is why I'm not editing this portion, this loading screen out. That is something I could, in theory, do for YouTube, is edit loading screens like this out, but because it's getting streamed live, if I were to do that, it would just make the episode shorter on YouTube, because it wouldn't change how long the episode recording period was for Twitch. The plan tonight is to record a full 5 parts. So we're going to record basically the first 5 hours of the run here as Humanity First, which will probably mostly be us trying to get to Mars. Basically, Humanity First recognizing the aliens are in space. We must take the fight to the aliens.
We remember the day the stars answered, the day we learned we were not alone. As a familiar sun rose on an unfamiliar universe, some of us saw wondrous possibility, and others, existential danger. The astronomers had insisted that the bright streak in the sky was no natural phenomenon. Most of us didn't really believe them until it burned through our atmosphere and crashed in a remote region, leaving only wreckage and uncertainty. In our ignorance, we fractured, taking refuge in our most primal emotions. Each of us saw what we wanted to see. Every war is won well before it is fought. Leaders must be prepared, their plans in place, and their weapons ready. The sheepdog cannot be trained when the wolves already hunt the flock. Our enemy is surely stronger. Their plans are noble, but this is our home. It can be our fortress or our tomb. There is only victory or death.
And as Twitch says, we need to get our butt to Mars. So here we are. UFO crashes on Earth. The alien vessel has crashed down the Kiev region, Ukraine. While the wreckage is unrecoverable, we suspect alien life forms have escaped into the surrounding countryside.
Reporting for duty, Colonel. The Council has appointed you leader of our organization. I am Hans Castillo, your Adjutant General. The alien arrival represents the greatest danger to humanity in the history of our species. As such, we have formed a small group of military, intelligence, and science personnel committed to protecting our planet. We must build up our numbers and influence, investigate the aliens and their activities, and defend ourselves from extraterrestrial threat by any means necessary.
Okay, so that is the opening suggestion here. So the suggestion is basically go investigate the alien crash site, acquire the assets we need to defend humanity. Tech-wise, it's the usual sort of opening tech here. We want clandestine cells like yesterday. Audience research risk can turn down to 0 because we really don't care about audience research, commercial research. Any of the projects right now are not worth doing. But we are not alone to get clandestine cells as kind of a priority. The next priority over that is actually probably going to be trying to drive tech towards space mining. It's probably going to be easier to find if I do search in the tree, right? So we want to get to space mining refining, ideally before the other human factions research the mission to the moon or the mission to Mars. They move mission to Mars. Mission to Mars. In the old arrangement of the tree, which I'm still somewhat used to, Moon and Mars are right next to each other. So we want to get the space mining and refining before, obviously, Mars or the Moon pops up, ideally. If the Moon pops up before we get to the space mining, that's fine. It's a little bit more of an issue if Mars does. And then in combo with that, we probably want to be getting high-speed probes, and if we could, and there's a little bit of danger in trying to go for it, is with solid core. If I can find the solid core fission. Solid core is a prerequisite for nuclear freighters. Nuclear freighters helps with a lot of the MC to going to Mars. The reason why that's a little bit of danger is that is a prerequisite for nuclear fission space. Nuclear fission space shares one of the tech prerequisites, I believe. Or did that get changed? That might have been changed. It used to be that trying to go for solid core fission did some of the predecessor techs to mission to Mars, which of course would accelerate that as far as the AI is concerned. But yeah, we're not alone to start off here. If we can control one of the research slots, we would like to be pushing towards space mining and refining, because really we want space mining. If I'm not confusing my... Yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of. This is the one that gives us mining. Outpost mining complex, yeah. Because there's not really much value to us as a human player getting a base on Mars with no ability to mine the base. At the same time, really, we probably want to get these pretty close together. So that one, and the other one is, well, a little bit less so on the space construction, but yeah, you want to get most of those close together. There's maybe an argument that if you can, the longer you can delay the pickup of mission to Mars, mission to the moon, the more boost you can get going. So nuclear fission in space here provides, solid core behind nuclear fission in space. Provides nuclear freighters. That's a big boost saver. Deep space propulsion. One of these goes into high thrust probes. We're not going to go looking for it right now because we're not too worried about it. First, we need to actually secure some control of Earth. So let's see our starting counselors. We have Asha here, the tech mogul. Asha has Control Nation, Public Campaign. So that's going to be 2 necessary techs. One nice thing, if you're doing the defaults, which we did here, just keep it simple, is one of your counselors, I think, is guaranteed to have both of those. We got lucky with both of them having that. We do have a couple that don't have duplicates, so this one has Inspire, Turn Counselor, Increase Unrest, that this one does not have. This one has Advise, Surveil, and Investigate Alien Activity, which we probably need to do fairly early on here. Hostile Takeover, which is a bit meh, although could potentially be useful early on here. And Steel Project. We got 6 Persuasion and 9 Persuasion. Okay. So we've got some decent Persuasion. We're probably not looking for another Persuasion Counselor. Family Ties. Well, I turned off the I get guaranteed one from the United States, or maybe I screwed it up and didn't. I think I turned it off. Apparently, we got one from the United States anyway. We'll just have to roll with that. I'm not going to relaunch the game just because we got a United States person. So we got a famous social scientist from the United States with family ties. So if we were going to go for a very aggressive start, this would actually be really good for just starting in early America. Then we got a beloved, extra persuasion, July 9, loss averse, that you can remove that. Imminent, a bunch of influence, sociopath. Okay. And then augments here, you don't have enough to pick anything up. You could go government or criminal. You're also from Poland. Okay. And then you, again, could pick up, we could save up for National Hero, which would be bonus in the United States. Options that may present themselves to us. We do have some nice early orgs here. Admin of 7, admin of 1. Okay, so we don't really want to put any admin on you unless we're going to be using it right away. Or any orgs on you unless we're going to use it right away. And you've got some space, so I'm going to go ahead and grab right away. We're going to grab 2 of these orgs. There's an argument that we really don't need the investigations here. We could probably postpone that, although it pays money as well, and it provides investigating espionage, which we don't need yet, but we will at some point want, and we'll probably want it for our counselor when that happens. And then that 1 gear is providing us our second research slot, our second project slot. Not that we need it right away. So, as Humanity First, we're one of the nations, or one of the factions that's going to have a little bit of an issue trying to generate public opinion right at the beginning. There's maybe an argument to actually go for United States, start with the role that we've got on the counselors here. Although the usual bias towards the Academy is sort of in effect. Most factions tend to be pro-Academy, although apparently we've got pretty good support in the UK. I think my thought process is to try to do something like Singapore into UAE for early boost and money. Let's see, what is the state of the nation approval for us? South Sudan, Central African Republic, Sudan, Bhutan, Laos, Belarus. It's pretty high support. Iraq, Bulgaria, UK. We know it's the UK when we were poking around a little bit. Austria is up almost at 50%. The only one I was thinking about doing was the EU, although it does look like because fair, actually, it's not too bad of a choice to go EU with what we're seeing here. The difficulty, I think, is going to be in France. I don't think we have any support in France. Any real support in France. Yeah, France is going to be the hard one. In fact, France is pretty leaning already to the servants. And we do want to investigate alien activity. We're probably going to assume that we're doing that with you right at the beginning. And then you... Ideally, I want to do control nation... 50-something% on Singapore, 50-something% on UAE, 79% on Kuwait. And then as far as jumping into the Eurasian Union, we'd probably have to be forced to do places next to France. So we're looking Belgium, Luxembourg, Spain, Switzerland. So 3 of the 5 neighbors to France are pretty doable with the 9 here. Yeah, I think we're going to try to do an EU start here. But we will start off trying to grab Singapore first, I believe. The reason here is Singapore is going to be reasonably stable from game start. We can pretty much ignore trying to do any real maintenance here. And instead, we can basically push straight for get the space program done, get us boost in mission control from Singapore. So
establishing control.
there, and let's take a moment to look at our potential council ads. So right now we've got 30. Once we do the investigation of that point, we'll probably have 60. So we could probably take a 30, we could probably take a 60. After one cycle, we'll probably be able to take up to 90. So we got a 30 here. Evangelist, aware, untouchable, opinion leader, corrupt, and has a crew. Would be doubling down on persuasion. Would probably be someone we wouldn't keep. Although, for a short term, want more persuasion, not a bad choice. A fixer that isn't allowed in the United States. Game's bombarding with people from the United States. United States, okay. Game's like, I really want you to go to the United States. I'm like, I don't want to go to the United States. United States in the 2026 scenario, I believe, is a little bit less stable than it is in the 2022 scenario. And we did United States in the 2022 scenario before. And part of what makes it unstable means we're going to have to spend time stabilizing it instead of going to Mars. You got a fixer here, non-grata, that can't be in the United States, which would kind of be fine. Although the traits are kind of meh. So again, this would probably be one we'd take, and we probably wouldn't want to keep because of the below average stats. Stabilized nation, we're going to want stabilization on someone. We're going to want assassinate, we're going to want purge. Decent possibility that this fixer could probably pick up criminal, and we could do some criminal stuff with them. Although for the moment, they're not going to be good enough to do any of that, and they don't get any good traits. So if we can't get anyone better, we may pick them up. Operative, affluent money isn't too bad at the beginning. Scrutable, can't do inspire. Again, this would be another espionage person. I think a little bit better espionage, yeah. From the Philippines. Scientist. Things like chemist is nice early on. Because this is another flat percentile. Well, it's a percentile buff to material science in particular. Also provides some flat science. Technocrat's also pretty nice as well. Very bad mission set, though. Pretty useless mission set. If you had public campaign, it'd be a little bit better. It's going to be a while before control of a major, where advise will be useful. If he's still hanging around by the time we're in control of a major, we'd pick him up, but it's too early for him. Politician. Government, lobbyist. Funding is something we want to do in the midterm. Firebrand, penalty to unity, so that's maybe not what we want. Also pretty bad mission set. Doesn't really add anything that we don't have except purge. Executive here. Indulgent, wealthy, eminent. Again, I'm looking at the mission set here, and you're like, you have to have really good stats for it to work, and it doesn't really have that. And we don't need a defense contractor this early. Zybe, officer. Government, so that's another government option. Addicts battle, you can remove that. Crew for some ops. Careless is bad, I think you can remove that, though. Purely bad traits you can usually get rid of. Quick learner here. We're tempting for the quick learner. Does have some decent missions. We're going to need stabilized mission or stabilized nation at some point. Salt healing acid at some point. Probably someone we want to wait on though. This would be sort of our commander. This is usually what I think of like for a 4th or 5th counselor. We're looking for what we can do for a 3rd. Inspector here. And notice I'm mostly ignoring the age. I probably should be paying attention to the age as well. Although right here at the beginning of the game, we're looking at what can we do with what we got. Crackdown, purge. So, especially if you're going for an EU start, we may need to crack down and purge, take control of places. And as control nation, would probably like public campaign, but we might not be able to get that. Spectre. Affluent, media darling. Median Darling, weirdly, is actually a bad thing when combined with you're trying to do espionage on the character. Earthbound. I think you can remove Earthbound, though, so that's not too much of an issue. Becca still likes it. Espionage. Okay. And then we got the Spy here. Spy here is looking like it's got a good mission set, so we might be picking up the Spy because of the mission set. Public Campaign is nice. Control Nation Public Campaign is really nice. Early game has great espionage, so this would shore up our espionage. Is government. I tend not to do government as my espionage, although he does have pretty good investigate, and has cracked and investigate counselor, so he's got the important investigate ones. The only one is missing is detain. Detain. He might be able, with government, be able to pick that up. At some point, we're going to want to acquire a specimen for interrogation. So, and that, again, that's where the detained missing is a little bit sad. Although this would probably work. This is actually a pretty good one from a mission set. Undercover, affluent, low-profile government, furtive, suspicious. I'm thinking we'll go with this one. We'll pick this one up. We can do some public campaigning to help the more advanced or more persuasive characters do Control Nation. Oh, you also have Investigate Alien Activity, so yeah, let's pick you up. So you'll be number 3, and we can...
Acknowledge.
Early on when we're persuasion focused, this will be fine.
We'll see what we can find.
Later on, we'll probably swap them over to Investigate Espionage. So we could try to do Control Nation. Your 6 persuasion is not as good. However, Public Campaign is generally easier than Control Nation.
I will try to sway the public.
So we'll have them start the Public Campaign ahead of us. And well, initially they're going to be running with us, right? So we're going to be Public Campaigning while we're doing Control Nation. If we get the control up to a reasonable value,
Where to?
like 75%, like where Public
Reporting
Campaign
in.
is, we'll just move them on to the next thing to Public Campaign. Is what we'll probably end up doing. So we got ourselves 3 counselors. We need more influence before we're going to pick up more. And we do have your government, so we have a government. Your admin's a bit weak, but that's going to be everyone this early in the game, I think. Well, actually, except for the guy we're starting with, the Tech Mobile. We're starting with the Tech Mobile's got real good admin. Okay, so I think that's the basic opening here. Let's get the speed going, confirm assignments, let some time pass.
Public opinion remains...
Failure at the public campaign. That's kind of what we get for not having any money to invest in it yet. All nations gain some cohesion from uniting around the
They found some.
knowledge of aliens.
There's
Escape
no
aliens.
evidence of a hoax, Colonel. The world suddenly seems very dangerous.
There is no evidence of a hoax. So that gained us 20 influence, basically refunding most of our 3rd counselor's influence cost and some science. And we need to research this when it becomes available. We'll try to get that done reasonably quickly.
We failed to take control.
Ooh, failed both rolls. Shame. So, we got our first choice here as far as the management team. Sorry about that. I had a cough. We can either choose to get 3 influence a month, or 15 science a month, 50 ops, or 10 money a month. Because of the plan that I'm going to do, we're going to bounce between a couple oil-rich nations in Singapore. We're trying to do EU. I don't think we need money. Ops is always real strong, although we're trying not to do ops initially, and this is a flat amount, right? So if we can figure out how to get an income of it, we'd prefer it over a flat. So really, I think right now it's a toss-up between influence, which is going to allow us to apply influence to Control Nation, or knowledge, to make up for the fact that we're probably going to be a little bit late on the research. Twitch chat's asking, oh, I missed it. Did we start in 2026 for the start? Did you say the difference between the start? I think 22 and 2. Yeah, so we started in the 2026 start. I think we're doing research here. Let's pick that choice. And let me cancel detected. One of the major things is a lot of, and this is sort of a weirdly a commentary on real-life politics. A lot of the nations in the world, obviously since from 2022 to 2026, got richer. But a lot of them got a lot less cohesive. So the United States is a little bit less cohesive. China is a lot less cohesive. I'm not sure how things change with Russia. But yeah, the world is a little bit less, I think stable is a way to describe it. Cohesive is another way to describe it. In many ways, you could almost imagine the world spent more on trying to boost its wealth than it did on trying to improve its inequality, because in many cases, the inequality got worse over the last couple of years. But yeah, so this is the 2026 start, which is sort of based on the expectations of where the world was going to be in January 2026, versus the 2022 start, which was based on the predictions of where the world was around about when the game launched originally. Okay, so here we have the UN Security Council meets, so we can get a one-off bonus to ops and influence, revealing a little bit of information on us, and a small public opinion boost. Only influence and a bigger public opinion boost at great deal of information being released. Again, I'm not too worried about picking ops up right now. I'd like to really see that we have ops income, not flat ops. And I think influence right here at the beginning is going to be a little bit more useful for us. The public opinion boost is also going to help.
We believe we can join them as brothers and sisters if we only convince them we are worthy.
So this is the sort of thing that happens. Technically, the screen pops up whenever you first meet another faction. But that's also the sort of thing they would have said at that council meeting, right? If they came out publicly and said, "We believe in this is what we should do," that's what they would have probably said. So I'm going to assume the Academy came out at the council and said, like, hey, we should join hands with the aliens and try to resolve without conflict. But we're coming out here like, no, we're going to put humanity first. The aliens are a fundamental threat. And it appears that we were the only two that publicly spoke at that council. Okay. Everyone else did a bit more of a
Standing by
quiet
for orders.
opening. And our first attempt at getting territory
case.
failed. Let's even get some territory in the second pass. Not enough influence yet, or not enough experience yet to pick skills. We should have enough that we can pick up a 4th counselor. So who do I want for my 4th? Again, this would probably be a good one as a temp. Control Nation Public Campaign would not be terrible right off the bat. We wouldn't keep them. They're a bit too duplicative of our existing people. Not really any traits. Mission profile-wise, they're stacking traits other than Stabilized Nation that we've mostly got. Would give us a Detain Counselor. I'm hoping to get into Detain Council as an add on our existing one. They do have better Investigate than our existing one. Actually, no, I think our existing one... Go back to the Counselor. You have 8 Investigate. So you're actually... For Detain Council, as long as we can get to Detain Council, the person we already have is really good for that. Tempting, although not enough persuasion to really do Control Nation right now. And it's tempting because of the Technocrat and Chemist. But we'll hold off there. Control Nation, Public Campaign. Again, this would be a decent temp. The Evangelist and the Politician here are decent temps. We wouldn't keep them because they're a bit too persuasion focused, and we want like one good persuasion person once we get past the early game. No useful missions. Quick learner is always tempting. Would be a decent commander. So the big struggle here is no control. Well, as control nation 6, but no public campaign. Although you have stabilization, we might. Do I want to commander this early? You know what? I'll go with commander this early. We'll pick you up as the commander. So part of what we're trying to do as we're building per council is trying to get a decent spread. Early game, you really need a lot of persuasion, because that's how you public campaign in places and take control of them. Once you get out of the early game and people have started to pick places up, you may need to purge and crack down people out, or reset the location via inducing unrest and coups. So purge is espionage, crackdown is investigate, couing and raising of unrest is command. So we want persuasion right now for various reasons. The first 4, we probably want to try to pick 4 of the 5 of those stats up. We got a little bit lucky here in the spy, with the spy being pretty decent, investigate and espionage. You don't really want them to do both, because then you get in a situation where you got to purge one turn, and you got to come back and crack down the next. If you can get both investigate and espionage in different characters, then you can do one and the other in the same cycle.
Acknowledged.
So this is the problem we're going to run into with this guy right now. Is control nation, the 6 investigate. Even in the smaller ones that we're thinking about doing is really weak. Alright, the ones we're thinking about, I think the strongest one we're going to be able to do that in is Kuwait. 54% in Kuwait isn't too bad. I could remove careless or addict right now. And it's maybe tempting to remove addict. Although we have the money, so that's less an issue. Okay, these things. Again, he's also a quick learner, which means he's going to gain XP real fast. Well, he's not going to gain XP, he's just going to be cheaper to spend it. We get more for this expenditure. Do I grab persuasion on you this early? Oh, that's military engineer. We're also going to ignore the engineer trait here. Specific because it's military. Some of the other engineering ones are a little bit more interesting early on. Yeah, I think we just spend this in persuasion. Because you already have admin 6, so it's a decent start for admin. So that increases the likelihood that you're going to be successful, and we are going to just have you try to take over Kuwait.
We'll be running this place in no time.
Oil nations are where we're going to try to get some of our early money, where Singapore is where we're trying to get our early boost from. That's where we're trying to get in Singapore.
Ready.
The rest of our influence we don't really need. So I'm willing to burn a big chunk of that to try to get into Singapore faster. Yeah, we'll burn it for
Putting our people in place.
We must not only defend human lives from the aliens, we must ensure those lives remain worth living.
Okay, so we've met both the Academy and the Resistance.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
We actually got some public campaign success in Singapore, so we'll continue that.
Public opinion remains unmoved.
That one failed. We're going to want that research at some point. It's not a rush.
Our supporters are in place.
Okay, we got our first point in Singapore. Now, I am going to do something that probably isn't necessarily meta, but we're going to focus on trying to get Singapore into space.
We still lack support. Reporting in.
72%, and
Ready for my
we want to
mission.
go for another point in Singapore. We're willing to pay some influence to get there. 81% seems
We'll be
reasonable.
running this place in no time.
I'll spend a little bit in getting Kuwait to move a little faster as well.
Putting our people in place.
Did have the refresh on the orgs. All of them are too expensive for our current money. Although Perun would be pretty good. Only had 400 credits. Would like to get some money moving quicker. This is also the first time, I suppose, a little bit of follow-up to what's different between 2026 and 2024 for the starts. This is my first time playing on the 2026 start, so I also don't really know what's different. I know there's differences because the world has changed in 2 years.
We were unable to establish control.
Ooh, did not succeed
We've
there.
gained
We did
significant
succeed there.
support.
Again, we're focusing Singapore on go to space. Alien ship detected. Surveillance telescopes detected a new alien fleet transiting to low Earth. In fact, it appears to be 2. Victor 1 and Victor 2 are coming.
Look directly at what you're trying to see. Offset your focal point somewhere to the side of where you think you noticed the movement. At night, the center of your vision doesn't work as well as during the day. I won't try to explain the science to you. What matters is you'll see whatever is out there before they see you. Colonel Hans Castillo, advising conscripts in Colombia.
Okay, so initiative here completed Skywatch. Twitch is asking, and this campaign was added in the 1.0 release. Yes. Well, officially yes. Unofficially, it was available in the release candidates if you knew how to go into the config files and turn it on. So the prototype to the 1.0, or the prototype to the 2026 campaign was available on the release candidates if you knew what you're doing. In theory, I knew what I was doing. I just didn't want to do the modification. I knew how to get to it. I wasn't trying to get to it. It officially was released in 1.0 is a good way to think about it. So they just finished Skywatch. They've replaced Skywatch with advanced carbon manipulation. That works for me. Got no problems with it. As it's required for molten core and vapor core. Decent possibility. Usually I don't really screw around too much with the early fission, so we'll probably end up doing like vapor core again, and we will need vapor core 2 if we're doing that. That's fine. Again, we're trying to get We Are Not Alone going, and apparently that just shows you how much tech they did. I think the tech they were going for was a 250 tech that they finished. How much was Skywatch? 250, yeah. So they've already pushed 250 science into something, and we've pushed 50. Plus 16. So the AI is very much out-teching me, which doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me at all. Although they probably got into nations. We had a little bit of a slow start getting into Singapore here.
I'm here.
Okay, so you've got a base 68 to get the last point in Singapore. We can give you a little bit of influence, kick it up at 85.
Establishing our presence.
Ready for orders.
And same sort of thing in Kuwait. Would like to be in there. We'll give you 4 influence to get there a little faster.
We've moved the needle.
The people will come to our side.
Our supporters are in place.
We got our first point in Kuwait. Kuwait, we're going to do something a little bit different. We could technically do space program here. That's not what we're going to be at Kuwait for. Kuwait, I need to acquire money quick and fast and dirty.
We're
going
taking
spoils.
over. Prepping for next mission.
Okay, so there's all the points in Singapore. That'll get us found space program really quick. Now that we have all the points, I will delay it a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. We'll put 1 pip in Unity. What Unity will do is every time it will complete is, as long as we keep all 3 points, it will push opinion towards us. You generally don't want to do that in democratic countries, but we're going to do it in
Colonel,
Singapore.
Our reports indicate we should prepare for the worst.
We've completed the research alien signatures. Research has established beyond all doubt the alien life form survived the crash. It has exited the area and is now at large on Earth. We are already hearing rumors of missing animals and chillingly missing people. Looks like these old stories or alien abductions might not just be stories anymore. We will need to find out what our unwelcome visitors are doing, and quickly. So progression a little bit in the tech tree. I'm going to push towards trying to get We Are Not Alone done quicker. I will slowly invest in labs in the information science lab here. We don't need it done anytime before we're in space, so no rush on that.
What's the op?
Okay, we can augment you. At some point, we can pick up senior social scientist, which is going to be social science research percentile. Picks up from 15 to 25. Not really a rush. If you're doing United States, saving up for National Hero would probably be worth doing it, but I think we're just going to grab Persuasion on you.
Acknowledged.
I think we go UAE next.
Bringing
Finish
them
Kuwait
on
and UAE up, and then we'll be looking at what the
Ready to
state of the
go.
world is.
I will tell our story.
Your orders? I will tell our story.
Ready for my mission. Establishing control.
No one apparently has gone into France, so we may have a pretty easy time making our way into the EU. No one in the United States yet. And I'd be surprised if anyone was in China yet.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
Okay, so this is something that, as the Humanity First is something we're going to run into. It's actually fairly hard to move public opinion towards your position without other bonuses.
Public opinion
Because we
is
are
moving in our direction.
fairly extreme. In practice, we're basically converting resistance opinion to us, and then we're converting other people first into the resistance. Select advisory team. We may now appoint our faction's chief advisors while our management team on board, or with our management team on board. We may now recruit our core group of advisors to assist our interactions and oversee the nations aligned with our cause. So you can get bonus to economy, bonuses to found space program and boost, bonuses in military build army, or emphasize international aid. Usually the way I play international aid is probably the strongest way to go. We're doing humanity first. We've got a self-imposed directive. We need to get to Mars. We need to get to space. We need to get to the enemy. So, give me the found space program. Give me the boost.
The Surat al-Baqarah teaches that in the creation of heaven and earth, a wise people may find the signs of Allah. Let us heed those words and join together as we take our search into the stars.
So the
Director
Academy
Khalid al-Ashgar,
Academy completed mission to
at the
space,
first conclave of Muslim astrophysicists.
and they replaced it with advanced chemical rocketry. Advanced chemical rocketry is one of the ones we're going to want before we go to Mars anyway. Notably has high thrust probes on it. So there is an argument I want to invest in this. If I can spend up to 39% of the final research on this, even if I don't have control of it, that would boost the probability that we get high thrust probes. I believe for every percent you spend on a global tech, it buffs the directly associated tech's unlock chance by that amount. So, we want high thrust probes. It'll be a shame if we don't get them. But at the same time, we really want to have control so we can pick something. So I don't want to take too much away from We Are Not Alone. In fact, we can already see I might not be able to keep We Are Not Alone. We're going to do some basic investment. If we can't keep it, we can't keep it. That's the end of the line there. But it is what it is. I think what we need more control.
Our presence is growing.
Okay, so we got more spoils in Kuwait, so it's going to give us more money coming in to pick up orgs and to pick up expenditure on public campaign. Also gives a little bit more knowledge, and not enough apparently yet predicted-wise to give us control on We're Not Alone, even if we invest everything into it.
We've got our people in place.
We got our first point in UAE, United Arab Emirates, and we're going to do basically the same thing we're doing in Kuwait, which is I need money now, and we're not going to follow the normal rules of acquisition. We're going to spoil Kuwait.
Where do you need me?
Although in Kuwait, we will do like we're doing in Singapore. We will do 1 tick into Unity to get public campaigning there.
Your orders?
Reporting in. We must persuade the people.
Your orders?
57. I'm going to spend influence here.
We'll bring this nation to our side.
Standing
I'm going to
by.
have you come over as well. You can only do Control Nation. You can't public campaign. I think we will spend some influence on you as well, even though it'll be more expensive to do basically the same thing.
We'll bring
Get
this
the last 2
nation to
points in
our side.
UAE. We'll be looking to Europe. Either Spain or Belgium or France. Probably trying to get the 3 around France first. Much like you get Canada and Mexico before United States. We do see that Canada is going Academy, Mexico is going Initiative. We'll see which one of those 2 actually gets into America first. And then no one is poking into China. Okay. Let's confirm assignments. Let time move. Now, what you should be seeing is, with every completion of spoils, we get a one-off influx of income, which doesn't show up in the percentile, but you should see every once in a while big jumps in the actual money stockpile.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
Our presence is growing.
Okay. Critical success. That gave us a 2nd point in UAE,
We're taking over.
and the 3rd point. Oh, and we will do... Now that we've got all the points, we'll do 1 tick into Unity there.
Where do you need me?
Okay, so next place.
At your service.
What is the easiest place to take of the 3 I was looking at? 71 for Spain, 64 for Switzerland, and 60 for Belgium, Luxembourg. Already looks like the Academy has a hex, or has one of the control points in Belgium, Luxembourg. We actually... Oh, so it's easiest in Spain because we actually have a surprising amount of control in Spain. Let's try to do
control.
Spain first, then.
Standing by for orders. We must persuade the people.
Standing by.
Of course, public campaign does not feed back in on itself,
Where to?
You do not get a opinion boost to public
Making our
campaign
case.
affecting public campaign.
What's the op?
So Spain is in fact harder than both Belgium, Luxembourg, and Switzerland to take control of in public campaign in. It's just we already have a lot of power there, or already a lot of support there anyway. Given that math, I think we'll go Switzerland for the public
We'll
campaign
make
here,
our appeal.
because that'll probably be where we go
What's the
after Spain.
Establishing our presence.
Ready for orders.
We'll spend a little bit of
Bringing them to
influence to
our
get
side.
into Spain pretty quickly. Let's go through. We got new choices for orgs. Evergreen, extract counselor, protect target on a command buffing org. That's the only one we can afford right now. You can kind of see the drawback potentially of running influence to try to get into places quicker is you don't have it available for picking up orgs. Things like the Jet Propulsion Lab here, MI5, and Jaeger Corps we could probably afford had we not been spending that influence. Although, it has, in theory, boosted our money, so we may, in the next cycle, be able to pick Perun up if it's still there. Given that, and I think we do want Perun if we can get it. That's some mission control early on, and monthly income for influence, as well as a public campaign on a person of our choice. I say person of our choice. It's got to be someone who's got 2 stars. So probably put it on Z-Bai here, because Z-Bai's got good persuasion. It does not have public campaign. So giving him public campaign would be great. He's got the admin to do it. So we'll probably save him taking Perun if we can get Perun. It's still there next cycle.
We're winning their hearts and minds.
We're winning their hearts and minds.
Oh, we can see the first
support.
point in France has gone, servants. So we will be fighting the servants for control of France.
We've gained significant support. Wrapping up here.
Okay, so we don't need the bomb. We don't need armies right now. We are going to want to go heavy into boost, or into mission control here in the EU. We don't need found space program in Spain, because it's part of the EU. Don't need unity, don't need knowledge. Okay, so right now we're just going to focus mission control, try to get mission control done. We'll probably flip over, in fact, we'll do a little bit of investment in funding. We'll flip into funding when mission control is done. And in theory, that is also helping us with science. We are still in the lead. Okay. Okay, we'll try doing that. We'll try to keep control of We Are Not Alone for the last little bit here. We're not far in the lead, so it's not a runaway with us yet.
Ready to go. We'll bring this nation to our side.
Ready. Bringing them on board.
Yeah, we now have the money to pick up Perun. Perun gives discounts if we attach it to them. Public campaign. It's also very valuable for its price. It's a 2-star that gives you 2 skill, plus 2 influence, plus 1 mission control. There's not much to complain about there. At some point we'd like things like this for some ops income. I think something we have is giving us ops income. Although I don't have an org, it must be one of my counselors who's giving me ops income. Oh, you have a crew. That's where it's come from. There's my ops. So 1.1 ops a month. If you do the math, yeah, that's all the ops. And then I think you are also going to be, yeah, you're my commander. We'll spend the extra money here. Pick up more ops, more command. I'm starting to feel, because we're at the point where we can start affording orgs, I'm going to want to start boosting up admin rather than persuasion. Grab some admin there. You're going to be my main persuasion person, I think. Yeah, you're one of my 2 with Inspire. I'm not sure what you're going to do. We want to keep you around because you got the social science. You might, in fact, end up just being the advisor in the long run because you got decent science. Yeah, I think we grab more persuasion on you. So we're going to basically focus 1 on persuasion, 1 on espionage, potentially investigate, 1 on command. We're not quite sure what we're going to do with you. That means we should, if we can, on the last one, get investigate, I'm thinking. Everyone kind of ends up doing admin in the long run. Which really means the 6th one is the wild card that you bring in at the end.
With us.
Public support here is changed by 1%, now at 41. Okay.
Public opinion is moving in our
Oh, I
direction.
forgot to attack the second control point over. Up to 15% Switzerland.
The dreamer in me wants to believe it would bring a golden age of advancement and prosperity for all mankind. But I'm a realist. I know better. Any race advanced enough to find us would be advanced enough to end us, likely without even regarding us. Commander Fiona Ayawade, NATO Symposium on First Contact.
So that's what the Resistance thinks. That they're likely strong enough to end us. We're following the prospect of, well, then we gotta fix that. We gotta fix that hard. We want to be the one to end them. So yeah, we're up in selecting the next tech. Let's pop into the tech tree. So we succeeded at getting We Are Not Alone, although it was maybe by the skin of our teeth. There's an argument to go space mining, or try to work towards space mining and refining. I think Mission to Mars, yeah, Mission to the Moon, Mission to Mars both need outpost tabs. So we would probably want to delay getting outpost tabs. So we don't want to do outpost tabs next. We'd like to get everything else for space mining first. Advanced electromagnetics into mass driver is an option. Another one is we just unlocked a bunch of stuff with We Are Not Alone. We could do something based off of that. African Federations is probably what we'd be wanting to do if we were doing an Africa First strategy. Institutional outreach, what I think it is. Research oversight. This would be more research from Earth, which is where all our initial science is going to be coming from anyway. I'm going to go into the full trick tree. So rival economics provides rival markets. Rival markets is the org. So I want more org choices. I need to go rival economics. Now the reason we went for We Are Not Alone is we really wanted that clandestine cells right off the bat. It's also going to give us talent development, which for Humanity First is +2 command, plus security on all current and future counselors. Is also the prerequisite for Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct is +2 assassinate. Which is a requirement for talent development. Oh no, talent development was the requirement for that. So +4 to the assassinate mission. We really don't need the +4 to the assassinate mission yet. But yeah, we're going to be happy with talent development. Domestic politics is institution outreach, which is more orgs. Admin node we don't need yet. Strategic lobbying. Direct investment from influence. What's the national research oversight? National research oversight is 10% more science from control points. Again, this is where most of our early science is going to be coming from. The question is, do we divert for the science bonus here? Yeah, that is definitely going to delay us getting into space. That is about a year worth of science for 10 years, so it'd pay itself back in 10 years. Maybe not worth going out of our way for right away. Yeah, I'm thinking... Do I need the help rolling the orgs? Or do I want to do advanced electromagnetism mass drivers? Because I'm worried that they're going to be running to the moon and Mars real quick. There's also the potential I'm not going to keep control of the slot, right? So if I'm worried about not keeping control of the slot, let's run advanced electromagnetism. Yeah, if we take any science off of the slot, we lose control of the slot. Okay. Just means we just don't have science
We're
yet.
taking over.
Another point in Spain.
We've got our people in place.
And all 4 spots in Spain. One of our counselors was spotted. I'm not too worried about being spotted this early. It's unlikely they've got the assassination skills to down any of our counselors this early. It is, you know, a crime to kill people in the normal world, so you gotta have some skill at it before you can get away with it cleanly.
What's the up?
Okay, so obviously controlling Switzerland, I think, is the next target. One thing we're trying to get to is we get a bonus for control points and neighbors. We're up to 1, which is a good start. Although we are on a clock, as you can see. The servants are trying to get in there. There's a couple different ways to deal with the servants being in there. Do I have Purge? I do have Purge. We don't get bonuses for neighbors on the Purge. Do we get bonuses to the public campaign for neighbors? Yes. Okay, so the more neighbors I got, the more public campaigning bonus I've got. The more public campaigning bonus, the cheaper it is going to be to flip France back from the servants. And we're already at the point where they're gonna take the executive probably before we get there. Best we can do is get like one tick before we go in there.
Standing by.
Yeah, we got 22%. I could throw influence at it and try to pick up a point here. Just to make it harder for them to have full control of France. You know, this is the point where if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it now.
Putting
So
our
we're gonna do
people
that
in
now.
place.
At your service. Bringing them to our side.
And the reason is I expect we're either going to get that point or we're not. Because you can't contest the executive if they control the other 3 points. So if we're going to take a point in France without urging or crackdowning our way in, we got to take a point now. So let's confirm assignments. Let's see what the result here is in getting that point in France. Clandestine Cells, set as a favorite. Set you as a favorite. Clandestine Cells is going to take over the slot from Information Science. And I'm going to very heavily push getting Clandestine Cells done quicker. That gives us the 5th counselor.
Public opinion
Which
is
just in
moving in our
pure
direction.
action economy standpoint is real strong early on.
Our presence is growing.
So we got a point in Switzerland, which would help getting into France. Switzerland is not part of the EU, so it doesn't benefit from the EU space program. So for the moment, we're just going to push funding in there. I'm a little bit tempted to actually push spoil in.
We've got our people in place.
Switzerland. We did get that point in France, which puts France in a very awkward spot, I suppose, because it is both favoring humanity first and the servants, which are like opposite ends of the coin. And they take the executive. Okay. So we're in, but that's going to be a tight game. So this is where we're going to go ahead and put the part break in here on the 8th of April, 2026. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow, as is usually the case. We are going to be recording 5 parts tonight. So if you're watching on YouTube, obviously the next part, the part coming up tomorrow, will be from this recording session. So you can be pretty sure there will be a part up tomorrow, assuming this part goes up. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. We're going to take a short break to get up, stretch the legs, and sip some tea before we get back to recording another part. I do try to record these as 50 to 60 minute long parts, although I tend to get a little bit carried away with Terra Invicta, so they tend to run a little over. We've got a reliable source for boost, sort of an outside context for boost. That's what Singapore is going to be. It's a little bit slow because you've got to get the space program going there. For money, we get the UAE and Kuwait. We are running unity in both those locations, which should slowly push them towards our ideology. It's a bit slow in the early game. Same thing in Singapore, although Singapore is probably the place where I'm most likely going to stop it sooner rather than later. and swap back over to counselors. We have worked our way into full control of Spain. We're working on Switzerland. And then the big prize in the EU is France, because it is the head of the EU. If we can get control of France, I think our plan, we're going to do with the EU is not do a big nations EU, although it maybe is tempting to do a UK-France EU, because the UK has got a lot of support for us, but to try to do a small nations one. That allows us to very quickly try to get their mission control up, which is what we're going to want early space, is a lot of mission control. Especially comboed with the fact that Singapore is going to provide us decent boost. The exception is France itself, because of France's overseas colonies in the New World, is probably the best place in the EU for boost. So France will probably be doing the EU's boost, whereas all the small nations are mostly going to be doing mission control. We're going to want to do the mission control before we merge them into France. So that's the sort of early game plan here. We're getting money from the Middle East, we're getting boost from Singapore and France, and then we get mission control from the rest of the EU. If we can wrest control of the EU from those who get to it before us. You can see we already have a fight brewing for France. It may be a fight that if it starts to go sour, we'll just back off and head someplace else. No one's in Russia, no one's in China, no one's in India. I would be surprised, and I am a little bit surprised that no one has made it into USA. Although most of the neighboring spots to USA is taken, so it would be a hard insert into USA unless you are the Academy or the Initiative here. So I suspect it will probably be Academy US of A. And yeah, I'm thinking, especially if you throw the servants out of France, the servants are probably going to end up getting into China. So yeah, I hope everyone has been enjoying the run as it is. If you're watching on YouTube, part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, we'll have a short break, and then after that, we'll be back to recording next bit. So until the next bit, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next bit. And bye for now.